Oh, who have we got in the chat tonight? We've got Patrick Robertson who says, evening. Vanna Briggs, hello. Roderick Smith says, hi all. Telstra issue, which should have been fixed yesterday afternoon, was fixed this morning, so I'm not missing a second presentation. Yes, Roderick had troubles with the LRSA presentation last night. Hello Victorian Rail Heritage. Hello CSX Gaming. G'day Stephen. Hi Victorian Transport Videos. And Rod says, in Switzerland we would watch the sweep second-hand climb the clock. When it hit 12 the train took off. Yes, we're not quite that to the second. I had some last minute microphone troubles, which turned out I'd just mistaken the transmitter with the receiver. I'd plugged them in the wrong way around, but got that sorted. Brian, hello. And Jack the Relatives, hello. Victorian Transport Video says that Flinders Street sign in the background, I have 3, 5 and 6. Oh, that's quite interesting. Anyway, not too much dilly-dallying around tonight. I will be cutting off the presentation pretty much at 10, no matter where we are, because I've got uni work due tonight. So it's mostly done, but I do need to be strict. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be talking about model trains tonight. And I just wanted to mention before we get started, I'm coming up to exam time at uni, and then I'm going to be away for a couple of weekends in November after my exams finish. So this will be the last live stream that I do until December. And then we will resume in December. We may have one in November, depending on if my trip goes ahead or not. But we'll see. I will put out an announcement if that's the case, but if you don't see any announcement, assume that there are no live streams for the rest of October and all of November. So we will resume in December. A few people saying good luck. Thank you very much. You know, before we start, we could... quit the bastard. I can show you... I guess I can show you... Can I? Yeah. Yeah, I'll change to... What we're going to do first is we're going to have a look through some photos of model trains, and then you might see in the background there's a few boxes. Yeah, we're going to... I think the camera shifted a bit. Yeah, there you go, you've got a better view. And then we'll be looking at some actual physical models. Anyway. Screen capture. Yeah, that's just a sample of my uni work. I've got to design a sprocket and make sure it meets certain design requirements. Anyway, this is the side of our model railways. So this is all the following photos are of my grandfather's layout. My grandfather passed away 2.5 years ago, maybe 3. I lose track of time. Anyway, yeah, he wasn't I wouldn't say he was the reason why I got into model trains or railways in general, but as a kid I always loved seeing his layout, and then in the later years when I got back into railways, I enjoyed utilising it. And yeah, so when he did pass away, all of the models were sort of distributed amongst the family members to sell off. There was a bunch of family drama and issues which I won't go into, but the point is I would have liked to have kept a few more things for myself, not to sell, but yeah, I couldn't, but it's been mostly resolved now, but anyway. So the models, most of the models have been sold, apart from sort of what you're going to see later on. But I guess if there's anything that isn't sold, I'll point it out in the pictures. The actual layout itself is still in situ at my grandpa's old house. My grandmother is still alive, and she's not in a rush to get rid of it, but she would like it gone eventually. So I will be going, they live in Belgrave, I'll be going up to Belgrave when lockdown and stuff is over with a couple of friends, and we'll be seeing what we can salvage from the layout. Yeah, although it's technically operatable at the moment, the computer has been taken which controlled a section of it, because it was a DCC layout. But yeah, so we've got a 3-car NZ with a D-van, and there's a B class also painted in tangerine. It's out of the picture. And we've got an R class, I believe that was R700, with a few E cars and a T class, which from memory maybe 338, but you can't make out the number from the picture. And what's it got behind it? Just a few T vans, B vans, and it looks like an IA or something like that. And there's ZL trailing. I've got a nice picture here. So, yeah, the middle track here is the main line, I believe. Oh no, is the bottom one the main line? No, the top. Yes, that's right, the top. So this layout was a loop which went around the room. My grandfather was he was a civil engineer, but he built the last 2 or 3 houses which he lived in. At least 3 of the last houses that he, he built 2 houses in Belgrave and 1 in Oakley. The Oakley house, or unit, I guess, is definitely still around. Was only built in the last sort of 5 years of his life. And my grandma lives in the second Belgrave house he built, and my auntie lives in the first Belgrave house that he built next door. So, yeah. So the main line was 2 parallel tracks looping around the whole room, and it was all HO gauge, HO scale, but the 2 main lines were spaced apart just enough so that, in theory, an O gauge model could run between the two tracks, straddling the two tracks. I don't believe any O gauge ever ran on it. He did have one O gauge model, which is sitting behind me, Flying Scotsman. But yeah, he never ended up wiring it up properly to be able to do that. And so yeah, on the main line we've got an X-Class hauling a few Z cars. And on the bottom you can see that there's these points down around here and here. There was meant to be in the original plans a large circular section, but that never got built. So yeah, we've got B in Murraylander livery, hauling a rake of VLX wagons and a Y-Class Y164, hauling a very nice mixed train. We've got a W car on the end, and we've got a few eclectic wagons. I quite enjoyed looking at the train hobby books. That there's a series of them that are like, country railway stations around Victoria, country branch lines around Victoria or New South Wales or whatever. Thankfully, that's one thing I did inherit from him, and that wasn't claimed by other family members, was his train hobby book collection, which consisted of over 100 books, over 100 train hobby books. So I don't know what they'd be worth, but I'm not selling them, put it that way. And I should mention those Z cars are actually brass. He was into his brass models as well as plastic. But since he was always he wasn't rich, but he was certainly well off. And so he liked his brass models. And it helps that he was friends with a brass manufacturer, which I will talk about later. Anyway, so this is the staging yard. We've got, looks like a couple of NR classes on a coal train. That looks like a C-van hiding in the corner there, and got AN3 on the GAN. What's that, a 44 class, I think. Holding a passenger train in the staging yard. A few other bits and pieces around the place. We've got is that a GM? Yeah, it's a GM. Holding a rake of, what do you call them? VLGX? God, I should know that. Is that the grain wagon? Someone you tell me. B class on a Bacchus Marsh or something like that. Some BPL cars with a Z van, so a ZL. Or a 33 class steamer behind it. Another view, some more grain wagons, same type as before, but I forget the name. So you can just sort of see the two tracks there. It's kind of hard to see, but the main line sort of went up and around over there. And that bridge in the background, I don't know if I've got a closer shot of it, but that is modelled off a real bridge, and that bridge is in Harcourt, Victoria. Velocity, obviously. Oh, and we've got a Walker. It's like a B crossing a B. We've got B85 in the background and B, it's too blurry to read, in the foreground, holding some GYs. Oh, is it B60? It is. There you go. Class leader B60. You can see very long rake of GY wagons. I think it was around 30, something like that. 30 GY wagons, which he had. All of which were on that train. I set up all of these trains and all of these shots. Oh, that's B80, so what was, maybe the other B was something else. Well, we've got a 4201 in the background there, and S313. Oh, so what's the T class? 335, I believe. And I think that's 62, B62. He had a lot of plastic models as well. X47. A few BSX wagons. Yeah, you can see all the scenery that he built. Foam, that's all painted foam, and cotton wool for the trees. Wow, what a brilliant shot. And 3 obviously. Oh, that's a bit of a glitched photo. Got some American passenger cars, I believe. Yes, Southern Pacific. Even though we've got AM3 live ready in the GAN hauling the Southern Pacific cars, but he did have a Southern Aurora set at one stage, but never a GAN set. Alright, that's those photos. We'll look at some comments. Victorian Transport Video says, I've actually just started with model trains. I'm buying some PTV Z cars when they are released. Very nice. Well, it's good, damn thread here. Very nice work on the layout, says Brian. Yeah, he was quite proud of it. I guess, like many layouts, it was never seen to its ultimate completion, but what he did complete was certainly impressive. He died of cancer and brain tumour, and towards the later years, because I think he was diagnosed about 2 years before he died, he didn't really do much with it, with the layout in the last sort of year or two of his life. But even before that, he just gradually sort of lost interest over time. And I do think that when I became interested, I guess I inspired him to keep going and keep working on it. Victorian Rail Heritage says, I think those are Powerline VLEXs with B80 on the lower track. Yeah, I'm not sure if they were Powerline or what brand they were, but quite possibly Powerline. Patrick says, I'm in Belgrave Heights. Nice area. Albert says, I like the silo at the rear of the layout. Yeah, let me see if I can find a photo of that. Where was it? Yeah, the silo was one of those things which was, there you go, that's sort of up there. It was never hooked up. VHGF. Yeah, VHDF, VHGY, those are the grain wagons. That's right. That's what I was thinking of. Or VHGX sometimes, yeah. or some of them were VHAFs. That means they had air-operated doors. A good size layout, yeah, indeed. So what I don't think I quite finished what I was saying before about, so he built the past few houses which he lived in, and in the last few years of his life he sort of lived half the time in Oakley, half the time at Belgrave. But the Belgrave, his second Belgrave house, he built that room specifically for the purposes of the layout. So, yeah. Victorian Rail Heritage says the grain wagons, if they are before 1979 recode, that'd be GJF or GJX. Yeah, some of them were, especially the silver, I think the silver ones, a lot of them were labelled GJF, GJX. Yes, 4201 did indeed feature. Your grandfather must have spent so much time building that layout. Yeah, he did spend a long time. And yeah, I guess I'm just glad that a lot of his models I've sold personally to friends who I know will treasure them. And yeah, even though he's not around anymore, and I don't have the space or time really for a layout of my own, it's something I'd like to have, a few years down the track once I've got my own place and whatever, but yeah. How are we tracking? 9:22, tracking right. I will show Wingrove, if I can find the album. Here it is. So this is the layout which I sort of spend the majority of my model training time these days, and by majority I mean I go there. It's located in Taradale. I go there sort of once every couple of months in normal times. So Wingrove is a timetabled layout, so it's not meant to. The models are really eclectic, and there's bugger all scenery, but that's not the appeal of the layout. The appeal is that it is timetabled, and you've got safe working, real working, safe working systems. There's not many of these sort of layouts around. I guess I'll explain it more as we look a bit more. I mean, by eclectic mix of models, I mean we've got sort of mostly a mix of American and British, but with a bit of Australian stuff thrown in occasionally. So this is an example of one of the stations. This is Coongarra Creek, and we've got two block instruments on the left and right. You've got the power control panel in the middle, and the timetable up in your top left. All of these pair boxes, Harcourt pairs, those are boxes full of historical timetables from around the world. And so this layout, in one form or another, has been around since late 1940s. So parts of it are quite old, and bits and pieces have been upgraded and moved, and there's been new models put on over the years. This is Goldman Junction, which is the station that I most often man. So the idea is that you've got all these clocks on the wall, and the clocks run fast because it's easier to scale time than it is distance on a model railway. That you want to be working to a realistic timetable. The timetable is sort of loosely based on 1970s Victorian railways, and the sort of general arrangement of the stations from a timetabling perspective roughly reflects that. So you can think of Goldman Junction as sort of the Bacchus Marsh equivalent. You've got over here that's what we call the junction. We sort of say that any trains that arrive into the junction go off to Adelaide or wherever, and then they get sent back. And all of these hidden sidings down at the back, that's also part of Goldman Junction. Trains often arrive into there and sit there for the day, with the theory being that they've gone off to Adelaide or whatever, and then they come back in the evening, or and sort of over here I've got Goldman Town, as we call it, for local stuff. You can see that's a closer view of the power panel and the block instrument. Power panel is pretty simple. You've just got switches to turn the power off or on or off for the different tracks, and a simple resistance controller. So the way that the block instruments work is that they are electrically connected to the next station up the line, and you use bell codes to bell through different requests. So it might be you want to bell through the rail motor, or you want to bell through the express goods, and the different bell codes will reflect that. And once you've got approval from the other station, you move your block instruments over to, for example, up train offered, and there's a little light on the block instrument which indicates that you agree. You're theoretically not supposed to communicate by voice to the next station, but occasionally you have to. But the majority of the time, you just rely on your bell codes. So once you sort of send your train off, and once it's out of your section, you don't have control over it, or you can switch your block instrument off, which will stop the train, but otherwise, as long as your block instruments agree, that train's just running to the next station. So this is the working timetable. You can see all the different trains, runs through effectively a whole day, from when the clock starts to when the clock ends. Real time, it's about 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 or more, but generally about 2.5 hours if everything runs well. But yeah, it runs through a whole day on the spare up clocks. There's a bunch of those around the room, and they're all connected to each other. So these are an example of bell codes. So you've got the express goods, which is 5. So you go ding, 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 and that would indicate express goods, or 212 for the rail car. So ding, 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 ding. Got some sprinters there. random grain cars and some a large US loco. Quite fun, and when it was originally conceived, the railway, this model railway, the creator, Jack McLean, he was contemplating putting in a wildcard system so that, you could say, oh, X train is running late today, to try and introduce variety into the running. But he found that there was enough things which organically happened, enough organic wild cards, if you like, that, it wasn't, that's the end. Enough organic wild cards that, we didn't need enough wild cards. Microphone problems. What's happening? Oh, hello everyone. Sorry. Could you hear me through that, or will I need to repeat that, all of what I was saying? I know it's much better now, but will I need to repeat what I've just said? I'll read some comments in the meantime. Stephen says, love the Yakandanda railway station sign. Big station sign, lols, Vanderbricks. Stephen says, I think Yakandanda was the longest name for a railway station, I assume in Victoria. Or Roderick Smith mentions Buckrabunyal. Yeah, the Wingrove layout is quite cool. I don't think I've blocked links. I think you can send links. I may have blocked links, but that's something to sort out for another time, but try. A few nominations for different things. No Victorian Transport videos, the link did not go through. I thought I had enabled it, but anyway, I think we can switch over to the main camera now and we can show off a few models. We'll start with the largest, how about that? It's not often I get this one out, but it's quite large. Wow. Here we go. How's that? There we go. That's more visible. Flying Scotsman, O-gauge, brass. It's heavy. It's an impressive model. Let's just say my grandma didn't want to know how much she spent on model trains. The sort of unspoken condition between the two of them was that you don't question what I spend my money on, and I don't question what you spend money on. So it's like, okay, they can both have their own pleasures. Yeah, gosh, I don't know exactly how much this would be worth, but a couple grand is, I would guess. It's in basically brand new condition. And by the way, I mean, the tender is in the box back behind me, but I've got a 6-car brass carriage set to go with it. I think I will sell this one eventually. I'm not really into my British models, but it sure is impressive. But let's... I was going to say let's put it down. I've got a better idea. I showed off this last week. That's S313, I believe. How's that? Nice mantelpiece. And while we're at it, we might as well get the tender out. There you go. Filled with coal. There we go. That's an impressive mantelpiece. Let's look at comments. Powered, yes. Yes, it's powered. I haven't tested it to make sure that it's working, but I'm 99% sure it's working. Yeah, HO brass steamers go for $1,000 plus. It's a keeper. Well, yeah, you're right. It has, Will James is right, it did indeed run here, so I just don't see myself ever really getting into O-gauge. I'm in no rush to get rid of it, put it that way. But yeah. All it needs is a cow catcher, yeah. All right, that's Flying Scotsman. Now let's show off some HO actual Victorian brass. I'll show off this one first. This is another larger one. It's a Walker 280 horsepower. I think I'm just going to make a mess of all this packaging and actually clear it up later. Okay, it's got a bit of foam in it. Here we go. Oh, I can't really see what I'm doing, but There you go, brass 280 horsepower Walker. This one is indeed for sale. How much have I got it listed for at the moment? I think 1,500 on eBay. So if anyone wants it, but yeah, that one's I'm having a bit of trouble selling it. Haven't had too much trouble with the rest of my brass, but I mean, brass is a pretty limited market. So I said I'd mention sort of how my grandfather came to be in possession of all these brass models. Some of them he did buy himself. A lot of them he was friends with a guy called John Sargent, and John Sargent was one of the main guys in Train Hobby, in the Train Hobby brand. See, this is one of their books. Country Branch Lines Victoria, Part 9 of I don't know how many parts. These are excellent reference books. Like, I'd pay the $50 that this retails for. I actually might have bought this one myself, this particular one, but I've got like literally 100 others that I inherited. I've got a few bits of freight stuff. Let me just try something. Oops. That's better. Well, we've got a little under 20 minutes, so I'll speed things up. So, yeah, John Sargent was a main person in Train Hobby. This is an e-gondola wagon with some coal. I think I've got these up to $400 each. And so John Sargent sort of said to my grandfather, hey, if you want to invest in Train Hobby, we'll give you a lot of discount models. And so that was quite the deal for my grandfather. And so that's how he ended up with a lot of these old models. The Train Hobby ones at least. But he bought a lot with his own money as well. What's this? This is a BZ. Is it a BZ or a B? Yeah, it's BZ. Light's playing tricks, but hang on. There, that's a good view. There's no rush to sell all these, but with the BZ, I think that is one that I am going to keep. It's sort of up there for a reasonable, it's on eBay for a reasonably high price, and it's just, if somebody wants it, they can have it for the high price, but otherwise I'm not going to lower the price. Ooh. X-Class, D3 or K? Who wants to see? Tell me which one do you want to see. They're all steamers. X, K or D3? Let's wait for the answer while I read a few comments. Brass walker or Precision brass? It's a train hobby. I'm going to link my eBay site. I guess I can put it in the description, but I think if you just search on eBay for Floyd Brom, I think that's my name on eBay, something like that. Or if you search for like train hobby walker or something like that, you'll find it. I've got an unlucky Flinders Street sign. Get the joke? Number 13. Yeah, I like 13 though because it's the Sandringham line. That's my local line. Victorian Rail Heritage says that's an amazing deal. What are you referring to? Exactly, the walker, because it's, yeah, 1,500 for that walker. The brass walker is a bit of a steal. Wheels Trains video says I've mainly got a fleet of V-line corporate stock. We've got 2 votes for D3 and 1 for X. All right, we'll get the D3 out in a minute. Roderick Smith says, my memory is that the first of the commercial brass models was a VRR, late 1960s, beating New South Wales. Interesting. I've got some 1980s era models, not 1960s. Victorian transport videos. If you're legitimately interested in buying brass models, send me an email. My email is in the description, and I can send you a list of what I have got in my current asking prices. You meant the deal your granddad got with the discounts? Yeah, that was a good deal as well. All right, let's get the D3 out. And I think there was a vote for an X, so we'll get that out next. This is a model of 639, D3 639, the original 639, not 658 or whatever. There you go. It's quite a nice model. This one I'm keeping. Same with the X and the K. This is not for sale. None of the Victorian brass locos that I'm going to be showing tonight are for sale. Well, the Walker is, but that's not really a loco, is it? Which way does it go? That way, I think. I've got 10 minutes. I'll get the X out and then I'll get something special out. Special with an S. With a capital S. Very nice X class. Quite successful locos. Doesn't have a number, this X. There's decals in the box which you can apply to be whatever X class you so desire. yeah, we'll skip the K class because we're running out of time. And I think you'll be fine that I've skipped the K class when I pull out the next thing. Here it is. Keeping it hidden until the reveal. This one I'm definitely keeping. This one ain't for sale. But I think my siblings have sold 2 other of this class. Yeah. Ta-da. They sold the unstreamlined versions and I got the streamlined. There was no way I was passing this one up. How much would a brass S, streamlined S, be worth? I don't know, probably like $2,000. That's why I'm keeping it. And I normally don't show the tenders, but I'll get out the tender. Yes, Stephen, I would also like an unstreamlined version as well, but without going into details of the family dramas, I could only keep the streamlined. There you go, there's the tender. I would have kept a few more things. There was a brass 3801 I would have loved. That's gone. By the time the rest of the family sort of caught on to what was happening, it was a bit too late. Yeah, I'll get this out in a... Wait, come on. Big box. That's because we're looking for this one. Right, now figure out which one's which. Is this the one that I'm looking for? No. Is this the one that I'm looking for? Yes. Parlour car. Brass, of course. So I've got a, what is it, 7 car spirit set. Got parlour car. I've got the guards van. Got the dining car, plus an AS, a BS, and I've got an extra AS, I think. I would have liked to one day get a complete 11 car set in brass, but that's a while off. Radio, get back in. Oh, come on. Ah! Fell down. Okay. I'm just going to put it back here and we can deal with it later. We've got like 5 minutes. What do I want to show? Oh yeah, we'll show this. Oh, and the camera's died. Has it? No, the camera's all right. It's the connection, I think. There we go. You didn't miss much. So this is so the S-Class was built, the model was built in the 80s. And when was this one built? 84. Ooh, even comes with its own screwdriver. Heavy Harry. H220. Tender is in the box, of course. Nice brass model. Again, I'm keeping this. I think there was another Heavy Harry sold for about 1,500. So I don't know what's the value, the monetary value of the bits that I'm keeping. Probably, in this room right now is probably like maybe close to 10 grand worth of models. It's a lot. But yeah. I will show this. This is the one brass diesel. Oh, actually, I'm keeping the S. So one of two brass diesels just to finish us off because we've got like 3 minutes. These models are pretty good for 1984. Indeed, it's because they've been barely run. Here we go. A66 in bicentennial. A favourite locomotive of many rail fans. This one wasn't in my original keeper list, and then I was talking to my cousin and he was asking me about what the models he had were worth, and I saw he had A66 in bicentennial, and I said, I'm keeping that one. He didn't mind at all, and that I wanted it. He said, oh, you know, if there's anything else you want, just tell me. I said, nah, I'll let you keep the rest, sell the rest. Because it was eventually recognised in my family that I was the only one who was actually interested in model trains, and that if I wanted to actually keep any, then I was welcome to keep any eventually. It's a GM class. I've got like a minute left. Keeping a tight schedule tonight. This is plastic. Trainer armour. And this one is going to be for sale, but it's just needs at the moment, it's locked in DCC in a consist, and I just need somebody to clear it for me before I can sell it. And I've got friends who will be able to do that for me. Or if this is one of the few models which is actually in the affordable ranges that I've got. So if anyone in the chat wants to buy this and knows all about DCC and whatnot and can do the necessary conversions themselves, then they're welcome to buy it. Pretty much all of my models I start, even if they're at pretty much brand new price, brand new condition. I generally say the price of them is around 20% off what they would be. If you bought them like straight off the Orcision website, for example. Right, that's the extent of the models which I'm going to show tonight. You said locked in consist. You wonder what the consist was? It was another GM in Commonwealth Railways livery. Yeah, all right. Well, it's 10:02, so keeping to my word, we're going to end the live stream here. And yeah, I might see you in November. Otherwise, I will see you all in December. Oh, and before I go completely, the day before, so Thursday night, before my first December live stream, which will be on, so the December live stream will be on December the 10th. And so on the night of Thursday, the 9th of December, I am presenting to the Light Railways Research Society about my hike along the Yan Yean tramway alignment. And LRRSA is open, the meetings are open to guests. You just have to go to the website, which is lrrsa.org.au, I believe, or you can just Google it, and register for the December event, which is their next meeting. And so, yeah, I will be presenting there, and you can watch my presentation there, and then join me for the live stream the next night. And yeah, I guess I'll eventually make a full video of that walk and put it on YouTube. And main videos should start back up to YouTube around December time. But yeah, if anyone wants to check that out, I'll put out a thing a week or so before then, but maybe after this stream finishes tonight, then you can go and register for yourself. All right, thanks everyone, and thank you for all of the good luck messages for my exam. See you in December. Bye-bye.